This is my therapist origin story, where it all started. I didn't always want to be a therapist. It wasn't anything that I grew up dreaming about wanting to do. When I was 20 years old, I needed to take a break from college. I just was overwhelmed and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So, my best friend suggested that we become flight attendants. It was something he'd always wanted to do, so I went along with him. And eventually, I got hired with Delta Airlines, and I was based in New York City. And this was in 2000. And it was amazing, and I loved it, and I had such a great time, and I traveled all over the United States, and I traveled all over Europe, and I had a lot of wonderful experiences. I met a lot of great people. And September 11th, 2001 changed everything for my city, for my profession, and it was really difficult, really, really difficult. Those were really dark times for a lot of people, and being a flight attendant during that time was really hard. So I flew for a year prior to 9/11, and then I flew about a year afterwards. And almost at the 1 year mark, I was on a transatlantic flight to, I think it was like Stuttgart or some city, Munich maybe. And I had a full-blown panic attack in the galley, like full-blown in first class, just completely on the floor, and none of the passengers saw, but the flight attendants were all looking at me like, what is wrong with this girl? So at my supervisor's suggestion, I reached out to an EAP, the EAP that was available through Delta. And I'd never really done counseling before, and they suggested maybe counseling, maybe I had an anxiety issue. So I went home for a little while to see my parents in Florida, and I found a therapist that took their EAP. And I reluctantly went, thinking I'm just crazy. I can't handle this. Something's wrong with me. I'll just need to get over it. And I sat down in her office and I explained to her what happened. And she just looked at me matter-of-factly and said, right, you have an anxiety disorder, and it was exacerbated by PTSD brought on by 9/11. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, there's words for what I have? Like, it's not, like, I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one. And I just remember feeling super empowered in that moment that there was information available and that it wasn't just me, that this was actually a pretty normal response for what people go through after they go through traumatic events like this. And I just remember that empowering feeling. And I thought, you know what? If I could help one person feel that sense of hope and empowerment, then that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And so that started my journey of trying to figure out who are the people that empower people, that can help people. And I found out that it was therapists. So I became a therapist. So my therapist origin story starts out very scary, but it ends up being wonderful because every day I feel like I get to facilitate those types of moments for people. And it's very fulfilling. So that's my therapist origin story.